Hey everyone, it's Ivan, KBadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today talking some pretty cool stuff from Goal Zero, their battery banks, as well as their Skylight. We'll go ahead and actually kind of start with the Skylight, but to get there, I guess I'll mention this right here, which is the Yeti 300 in reference to how many watt hours, and to get the most out of the Skylight, to get max, you basically need to have it plugged in. So right now this thing is at 92%. We're gonna plug it in over here, turn on that. It should tell us, oh, there. Now it just turned itself off, back on, starting to charge. Output 34 watts, yep, still 92%. So that brings us to this right here, which in fact is part of that Skylight. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with the Skylight. So up top here, that provides the light. There's 6 of these pedals that basically fold down. You can also fold them up, basically angle them whatever direction you need to for directing light. And there's all these LEDs. I think total there's like 168, something crazy like that. And the base is actually really cool as well in that, move this cord, and there's a button over here, and you press that and it basically collapses those legs all the way down. Or of course you depress it when you deploy it and those go down like that. Then there's actually 3 different sections. This thing goes up really tall, can illuminate a large area. So I guess I'll run it all the way up. And before I run this thing up, since I am going to put it up higher, I'll go ahead and make it a little bit brighter. All the brightness, which I guess I should go real quick. This right here is the low setting. Here's the medium setting. Here's the high setting, and here's the super high setting, which is actually 6,000 lumens, and you can only get there, man, that's so bright. You can only get there when you actually have it plugged into a power source. Otherwise, there's actually an onboard power source that'll get you the low, medium, and high as it stands. So there's one section, here's my second section. Maybe going out of frame, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure this will go up a little higher. Yeah, I don't even know if that's in frame now. It's pretty high. Honestly, I'll never usually run it that high. I'll usually bring it up that first section and then maybe half of the second section, just because it provides enough light for me. This is light for honestly a lot of people, ultimately like a really big campsite, if that's something that you're doing, because it puts out a lot of light. I honestly never actually run that thing up that high. It can obviously go that high. I don't run it that high. Usually I'll bring it up one section and then maybe half of another section. And really it comes down to how big of the area do you want to illuminate? Because this is basically a massive area that it illuminates, like a huge campsite, which honestly I just don't have the need for generally. Usually it's me and this guy right here and maybe my boys or something like that. So definitely not a huge area that this will illuminate. But if you want to, and if you have a bunch of friends for a big party, you can send this thing up and you have a lot of light. And again, just for reference, like that's quite a big area that's illuminated over there. More than I probably need if I'm just like camping or something like that. Something else really cool about the Skylight is the container it comes in, which is this right here. So you have a handle here, you have this strap, which you can use as a shoulder strap, and it is connected to this right here, which is the lid. So once it goes in there, you basically screw this piece down, and it's totally self-contained, to include actually down here where you have flats. So this will actually sit flat if you are storing it. Well, probably would store somewhere. So it'll basically sit flat. It won't roll around or anything like that. And like I said, it nests inside of here. I'm not gonna completely put this thing away because it is providing light for me. But ultimately what you end up doing is you collapse down all of these. That one down, bring this one down. And again, I'm not gonna completely collapse it, but basically this one goes all the way down. All of these petals end up folding down like this so that it can go over. And this piece right here marries up with piece right down here. Hopefully you can see that. And those basically allow you to loop all of that cable. So, man, this is really bright in my eyes. So basically this cable right here, which is approximately that long, however long that is. And this actually has your remote, which I'll actually show you the remote now because that's probably pretty important. Remote is probably the wrong term since this is actually connected to the unit itself, but this is what you use to control it. On the one side, there's nothing, and on this side, there are these 4 LEDs. Right now, this one right there is blinking, saying, hey, the unit's actually charging right now, and then you have this button that is just ever so recessed right there. And when you press this, when it's already on, you'll cycle through your settings. So right there, we're at low, press it again, come to medium, again, high, and since we're plugged into external power supply, press it again, you go to that ultra high that you're only going to get when you're plugged into something. By way of example, this right here, which is the Goal Zero Yeti 300, and this is plugged in. This adapter right here is for a cigarette lighter. You can obviously use it on like your vehicle, works great there too, but right here I have it plugged into that. And so also to turn it off, you press and hold. Actually, it will turn the unit off, and that's also how you turn the unit on. Press and hold, comes back on immediately to that lowest setting, at which point you can go ahead and cycle to medium, to high, and since we're plugged into external power supply, to super high. But right now it is charging the onboard power, so it's almost maxed out. So when I unplug this, it won't be on super high, but I can go through those first 3 settings of low, medium, high. Other things worth mentioning with the Skylight, the unit itself weighs about 14 pounds. This thing is about 4 pounds. So altogether, like in the case, you're looking at just under like 18 pounds, I guess it is. Output on low, I want to say it's like 400 lumens, and then it jumps to I think like 1350 and 3500 lumens, and then max, which it's at right now, is 6000 lumens. Pretty significant. And run times on the internal battery, I'm blanking right now. I'll put them in the video so you'll see them. But yeah, it's really cool, which I guess, how have I used it? I usually use it camping. Well, take that back. Use it camping, and the other place is filming at night. In the winter in North Idaho, man, sunsets early, like 4 in the afternoon early, like in the dead of winter. So I'll take this thing out there and go set up at the range, have light, get to shoot, film, do all that stuff, and it's really awesome actually. Makes for some fun times out there. Being able to just have like legitimate portable lighting that's really easy. And then of course also camping. Not backpacking, I'm not going to carry an extra 18 pounds to illuminate my campsite, but anywhere that you're going to drive into, or if you're really fancy with car camping and you overland, bam, throw that thing in your rig, just like my minivan rig, and you're good to go. But no, really, it's amazing. Like, to be able to have a lot of light when you're trying to do something, whether it's set up a tent or anything else around camp, it's awesome. Versus having a headlamp, which definitely a time and place, but being able to have just illumination for everything and not have this little beam that you're tracking while you're trying to do things around camp. Really, really nice. Which I guess then brings me to these power banks. So the smaller one right here is the Yeti 300. This one right here is the Yeti 1000X. They're in reference to watt hours. So this one is 300. Ugh, man, reflexes. Maybe that'll stay. So this one is in reference to 300. This one right here is in reference to approximately 1,000 watt hours as far as the power that actually holds in it. This one is definitely smaller and lighter. I want to say it's around 15 pounds. This guy right here is like 33 pounds. Not insanely heavy, but yeah, not that light. And so this one is obviously more portable. You have this handle up here versus this one. You have handles on either side right there. And they both offer, honestly, largely the same thing, just different varying outputs as far as, do you want a little bit of power or do you want a lot of power? And you're going to pay for it in basically size and cost. Ultimately, though, they both charge off of either the wall. You can also get solar cells, also from Goal Zero or probably other people. And then, of course, car charger. So you can actually run 12 volt from like your cigarette lighter and actually charge these things if you're on the road, things along those lines. And this one is kind of cool. Definitely made more for outdoor use in that this covered flap, basically you can see everything when it's down as far as through this little clear window right there. But when you use stuff, you basically lift this up and plug in whatever you're going to plug in to use that, which that just dropped down to high, no longer super high, but we can plug this in. This one down here, or all of these for that matter, it'll say whatever you're using, like 12 volt. I click that, a little LED light comes on, I just turn it back off. This one down here, I just turn that on, so I can plug this in down there now, and cycles through. And now we just jumped from that 3,500 lumens up to the 6,000 lumens. I don't know how noticeable it was on the camera because pretty sure it's auto ISO set right now. But, and then now it's saying, hey, output 85 watts and hours till empty, 13.5 hours at peak 6,000 out, or sorry, 6,000 lumens. So hopefully whatever I need to do with 6,000 lumens of light, I can get done in the next 12 hours as I was. But no, these things are really cool. I guess I'll give you a close-up of some of the different ports and things like that too. As I mentioned on the Yeti 300, we have basically, it's essentially a weather cover. And if we turn it around, there's actually one on the back also, where you lift that up, and that is where you actually plug it into the wall, and that is on and off for the entire unit. There's also a fuse there. Cover that back down. Turn this guy around, and we can lift this up, giving us access to everything. Over here we have AC, 2 different outlets there. We have 2 different outlets for USB-C, 2 different USB ports, and then over here is that 12 volt, or yeah, 12 volt, but the cigarette lighter. And you have all your different info here. You can actually cycle through some of the different stuff, which is kind of cool, depending on what you're looking to do. That turns stuff back off and on. And then whenever you're using something, like if you're going to use USB, you hit that, or conversely, if you want to use AC power, hit that, and it'll basically start converting it for you. Down here, this unit with some sweet dog hair, thank you Peanut, is much bigger. As you can tell, this is made to go throw on like a picnic table at a campsite, something like that. This is probably more at home, kind of staying inside your vehicle. Not that you can't drag this thing out to a campsite as well, but definitely bigger, and yeah, not super light. as well, as I said, largely this is a mirror of this with a lot of the same features. This one just has a much bigger battery bank in here. Again, those 1,000 watt hours compared to about 300 watt hours. And you're also going to be able to run more off of your AC on this than you would that. And still have the same USB, all that different stuff. This one actually charges over here though. There's actually an input for it which I don't know if I brought it out here, but basically the wall charger charges straight in the front, which is nice because something this big, you don't necessarily want to be maneuvering around trying to find something on the back of it. And yeah, really big unit, lots of power in that bank. Which I guess brings me to what has been my experience with these units. How have they done for me? Well, usually pretty much car camping or overlanding in my minivan. Now, I mean, what'll happen is I'll end up going somewhere to, say, a shooting course or something like that, and I'll be there for 2, 3, or more days, and I have a bunch of things to power, namely camera, batteries, like it just eats through them, especially if you're filming all day at a shooting course. And so I'm usually car camping, and yeah, I will bring one or both of these at times, depending on how long I'm going for. And really nice being able to just go ahead, plug in my battery charger at the end of the day, charge through all my batteries, plug in my laptop if need be, because I have to upload stuff. Usually try and not edit off of my laptop, off of one of these. You can, but editing is tedious, and it's not something I usually want to do in a picnic table, but sometimes you got to do it. And yeah, it does great. Again, largely kind of in my world, it's batteries for both my camera as well as just honestly cell phone, things like that, and charging laptop. Can you charge other things? You can charge all kinds of things. There's a huge laundry list of what you can charge, how many times it'll charge. Like, I want to say the Yeti 1000 recharge cell phone like 88 times or something crazy. Tablets 30 something times, laptops like 5 times or something. You can actually run like 1,000 watt microwave off of that, which is pretty crazy when you think of the draw of a microwave. You can run portable fridges, which is pretty cool, especially if you're, in the summer, camping out with family, stuff like that. And what other stuff? Pretty much, I don't know, you can charge or run a lot of things. And this is super capable. Pretty sure you can't run a microwave off of it, but you can charge a lot of stuff. And yeah, they've honestly done a great job for me. Oh yeah, and since I don't think I mentioned it on that Skylight, that internal battery for it, I think it's like 33 watt hours, and you'll get on that low setting, which, cycle through that real quick. On that low setting, you'll get 8 hours of output. On that medium setting, 2.5 hours. And high setting, you'll get 1 hour. And then super high, you won't get at all off that internal battery, unless of course you're plugged into some sort of external power supply, like one of these units right here. But yeah, overall this stuff's pretty cool. Price wise, this I want to say is about $400, which is actually pretty amazing considering it's standalone with its own internal power supply. This guy right here, the Yeti 300, I think is around $350, whereas the Yeti 1000K is about $1,000. Is it expensive? Yeah, definitely not cheap. Is it worthwhile? Totally depends on you, what you're doing, and how you're using it, really, at the end of the day. And there's a lot of people that are like, I want to get a bunch of camping stuff and never go camping. And then there's other people that spend a lot of time car camping, especially with younger kids, things like that. And I'll be honest, like, I grew up backpacking, occasionally car camping, none of this. Well, one, it wasn't even around when I was a kid. And we just didn't really have much money. I will say, if you are taking your family car camping, well, you can absolutely make the argument that, hey, all the electronics, all the tablets are dead. Great. And everyone's forced to do family stuff. I get it. There's some benefit there. There is also a lot of benefit with bringing some niceties along to get those that maybe don't want to come to finally come, whether it's your spouse, kids, whatever it may be, and making that transition easier, which ultimately turns into a win for everyone, honestly. Like, the more you can get out, the more you can do things. And if this is a stepping stone to get people out the door, then 100% it's worth it. And when you're not doing stuff, you honestly don't want to leave these not without a draw. So oftentimes I'll either just run it, like it'll be plugged in at home, but I'll basically run, I probably have one in here maybe. I do. So I'll either charge cell phones, like I'll have a cable coming off of it, or I'll have stuff like this, which is actually pretty cool, and just have this guy sitting up here. Pretty low draw, but go ahead, turn it on, throw that guy in there, and yeah, draw it off there, which, not sure where I was going with that, but you don't want to not use them. So if you are not camping, constantly using them, things like that, still have them in the house. And if for nothing else, there's definitely a peace of mind with, depending on where you live, whether it's hurricanes, earthquakes, whatever it may be, power outages are very real, wildfires, whatever it may be. Being able to actually have a battery bank for no other reason than to be able to charge your phone, because usually that's the lifeline out. And it's like, hey, well, if there's no power, then how are the cell towers? Often cell towers are up, and with newer phones, they actually connect via satellite. So being able to charge that, pretty big emergency preparation thing. So yeah, I've been really pleased with them. But if you're interested in any of this stuff, you can go check it out. There'll be links down below. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.